YouTube. Please forgive all the noise of all the ghost chickens and whatever noise is coming on. I am the Crazy Beetle Lady. So when I was a kid, I really liked the shows where people talked about animals and stuff. I really liked tigers and the bears and zebras and all sorts of ibexes and all jellyfish and stuff, but you know, you got into the backyard and there were none of those. There were a whole lot of insects though. But most people, like, insects are gross, insects are scary, but I found that the more I learned about and interacted with the insects, I found that they were actually very fascinating animals, just like all the other ones I talked about before. So for a while I was thinking about doing a YouTube channel about bugs to kind of share the fascination of these critters. But that was in December, and yeah. Best time to start YouTube channel about bugs or insects. It is not December. So it's that time of year. I started a little bit of gardening this morning, and a kid came and said, "Hey, Crazy Beetle Lady, here's a caterpillar. You should turn it into a butterfly." Got the little critter right here. And I just dropped him. It's okay. Come back, caterpillar. I have, and I dropped him again. He's alive! So, usually I don't raise just any sort of caterpillar I find out in the yard. It's a little, like, in children's books it sounds like any caterpillar will just eat all the leaves. It's not that, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Caterpillars, they eat certain kinds of leaves, and they can only thrive on those specific leaves. And since I don't know what kind of caterpillars these are, just out of the yard, it's best usually to just leave them alone to eat the leaves that they know they're supposed to eat. But this guy, this was a warmer day, and this guy was crawling around, and he fell off my hand again. Okay. Caterpillars are tough. Yeah. But he's crawling around, and if you might notice, he's a little bit of a fat little guy too. These are indications that I'm really hoping that he's getting ready to pupate. His name is Crawler, by the way. That's what the kid named him. But Crawler's really fat. He's rather large, which is kind of a difficult way to tell because caterpillars turn into lots of different sizes before they pupate into various different things. But Crawler is crawling, and he seems to, and he's definitely got some fat on. This might just be because of him hibernating from the winter. I usually deal with insects like this in the summer. If he was doing this in the summer, this would be foolproof. He was getting ready to pupate, but let's see what happens. He also showed up with a small injury. I don't know if that was from the child or shortly before, but which also makes it more important to keep him away from predators. So it will make things more difficult, but let's see what happens. So he keeps on crawling, and he keeps on trying to crawl down, as you might be able to see. Some things pupate with silk up on the top of their cages or on sticks or whatnot. Other things make silk on top of the ground. A lot of the caterpillars actually burrow under the ground to pupate. So I'm thinking that since he's crawling down, that is what he's doing. That's what he wants to do. Usually I would fill my container. I'm using a pet carrying container for small critters, but when I started I often used the jars with like some sort of mesh over the top so they can breathe. Like, all you need is to make sure that nothing can injure the caterpillar, the critter cannot get out, and he can breathe, because breathing is important, even if you're an insect. I can talk about that later, but not in this video. So Okay, he's trying to crawl off my hand again. I'm sorry. But you take the container. I usually like filling mine with dirt because it seems natural, and that's what the bug would want to do anyway. But since this guy has a little injury, I'm kind of worried about how that's going to turn out. And adding dirt will add microbes, and I'm really not thinking that'll work. So a substitute that people often do for dirt is damp, shredded paper towels. I've done this before when something happened to the container a caterpillar was a pupa was in, and I had to remove the dirt, and it was successful with that. So I'm hoping to have similar success again. So got our container, and you just fill the bottom with, you want like an inch or so of damp paper towels. You'll want to make sure that no microbes or anything are growing on these paper towels periodically. He's trying to burrow through my fingers. It's really fun to feel. But just nestle about an inch or so in the bottom. And then I'll want to mist it very lightly every once in a while, because you don't want, the dirt is to help protect the pupa and to keep it from drying out. That's happened to me a few times before when I just tried to pupate a caterpillar in a bare jar when they needed to be buried. So, thing is, caterpillar's trying very hard to burrow through my fingers. And now he does not want to go off my hand. Come on. I wish I could. I am not good at figuring out how to film angles yet. So he's crawling. I'm assuming he's crawling, trying to find a good place to pupate. So he's gonna go around and try to find a good place, hopefully. This is what I'm really hoping is happening, because I really don't know what he eats. But, and usually, pupas, they usually form right in the corner of the jar like this. So, hopefully, if nothing happens soon, I will let him go. If not, hopefully, like the kid wanted me to turn him into a butterfly, I'm thinking most likely the best I can do is turn him into a moth, or really help him turn himself into a moth. But welcome YouTube, I'm the Crazy Beetle Lady. This is my friend Crawler.